this is a quick little video reminder of how to use a protractor. Just a few notes before we start actually measuring angles. When you hear me talking about the center of the protractor, it's right here where my cursor is. Some protractors have an actual little hole there. Some just have this kind of upside down capital T or like a little crosshair. So that's what I mean by center. And then a reminder here, and this is very important when you're actually determining the measure. There are two sets of numbers here, right? You've got 0 to 180 if you follow my mouse here going around this way. And then we have a 0 on the outside, kind of this outer set of numbers, 0 to 180 going this way. So if you get an angle that falls maybe, let's go right here, we need to decide, do I want it to be 30 degrees or 150 degrees? Obviously very different measures. So something to keep in mind, if you can kind of always use, oops, try to make a little straighter line here, 90 degrees as your reference, right? That's think of like a corner, or if you know the term perpendicular. Most of us are familiar with 90 degrees. We just want to think, okay, let me make sure my answer is reasonable here. Do I want it to be greater than 90 degrees or less than 90 degrees? So if you're if you're uncertain about did I choose the right number or not, that's something you can consider. Okay, so let's try our first one here. We're going to take our protractor and put the center on the vertex of the angle. That's step 1. Step 2, now this is already done for me, but step 2 is to line up one side of the angle with 0. Okay, I could, if I wanted, line up this side with 0, and I would still get the exact same measure. But since it was already set up here for me, I'm going to use 0 this way. So now you need to get in the habit of putting your eyes at 0. So in this case, I'm using the inner numbers, and I'm going to increase. So I'm 10, 20, 30, 40. Let's see, just past 45, looks like I'm right around 46 degrees. Okay, let's try another one. Same thing, center on the vertex. This one's already nicely lined up for me. At 0, I'm still using the inner numbers here. I'm going to go 0, increase, increase, increase. I'm at 130. Oh, looks like I'm right at actually 140 degrees on that one. Now, just to note, it's easy to look at this and say, oh, 40. Maybe that's where your eyes went first. That's the outer number. But if you always keep in mind which 0 are you lined up with, that will tell you, do I want inner or outer numbers? So that one is 140 degrees. Okay, now they're not always going to be lined up just so nicely like that one was. So let me try another one here. I'm going to rotate my whole protractor around, and I'm going to line up first with the vertex. Then, let's see if I need to rotate this at all. Not really. Actually, that works pretty well. Let me go maybe just a smidge here. So I'm at 0, so I'm using, again, the inner numbers this time, and I'm going 0, I'm a little bit past 90, oh, looks like right at 95. Now this one can be particularly challenging because if you don't pay attention to which numbers you're using, inner versus outer, and you just look over here and you say, okay, I know it's around 90 degrees, and maybe you look here and you say, oh, 85. Right? It's not that obviously different than 95, so you really have to pay attention to where your eyes should be. So this one we're going to call 95 degrees. Okay, let's do one more here. Center on the vertex. Now you could go, get that right on there. Either way, you could either use the 0 here. If I were doing that, I would use the outside numbers because that's where my 0 is lined up. If you want to go this way, you would just use the inside numbers, but you get the same answer either way. So let me go this direction. So I'm going to start at 0 and work my way around. I've passed up 90. I've passed up 120. Looks like I'm right around 122. Now, just a note, and this is based on how your actual angles look. Let me put this up real quick here. If you have an angle where the rays are kind of short, let me show you a tip here. So if I try to line this up, and this is fine, I can put the center on the vertex, I can line up a 0, but I can't tell. I know it's pretty close to 40, but I don't know if we're looking like 37, 38, 39. So what you need to do is, now me, I can kind of make this easy. I can make my protractor smaller, but we can't all do that. So what you need to do is take your protractor off for a second. Just take your straight edge or your ruler and extend that side a little bit longer. So I'm going to do that here. Let me make it a different color maybe so we can see it standing out. So I'm just going to line it up nice and straight here. Just make it a little bit longer so that now when I put my protractor on top, you'll see it runs all the way through those outer numbers, which even though I'm not looking at the outer numbers to choose my final answer, I do need to see all these little hash marks here to know that oh, it looks like I'm almost even right in between the two of them. We'll call that, I think, 39 degrees. It's probably more like 38 and a half, but we'll call that 39 degrees. Okay, so if you need to, if those rays are too short, just extend the rays, one or both of them, to be able to read that accurately. Okay, thanks for watching.